Good morning and welcome to my channel. I am Karen, the everything behind the A Little Kinder channel. Today we are doing Scraplift Crafternoon and this is our layout. It's by Wendy. I loved this layout and the triangle shapes. I thought that was an interesting take on creating your own background. The photo I'm going to use is one of our race photos in front of Cinderella's castle at Disneyland, and I thought that this triangle design kind of mimicked the idea of the turrets on a castle. So that's what I was going for here, or at least that's where my creativity took me. I am going to get the center of this darker paper because I really feel like it's going to be a good match for matting my photos. So to make my triangles, y'all, I really wasn't sure how to do these, and I decided that I was going to cut some paper into some different sizes. So I did a 10 by 10, an 8 by 8, and a 6 by 6. So I started with 10 inches being where the point of my biggest triangle would be. Using a centering ruler, I found the center of each of these papers, and then I lined up my dot in the corner on my trimmer and cut. Not sure if it's perfect, but it made triangles for me. So if you've never made triangles this way, it is not difficult. I will say that having a trimmer where you can truly see where it's going to cut, like this Fiskars that has that little metal piece in the middle, made this so easy. Now, one of my personal downfalls is I never can get the center cuts to line up when I get something. So I had to pull out my X-Acto knife. Not a big deal. Just an extra step for me. Maybe you're much better at it. I am going to distress the edges of all of these triangles, and this lighter blue piece of paper is going to get distressed as well. I did decide that putting that pink triangle on top of the yellow one, I needed to change the branding strip. So this was another thing I noticed in the original layout that Wendy did that I thought was so creative. She left the branding strips, which gives you the look of having like two different pattern papers together. So genius. So I changed that one out so that it looked better and they didn't fade into each other. I also, for my page, I did do this double matte feature. Hers is on a white background. I think it looks fine either way. The paper that I am using is from Hip Kit Club. Say that 5 times fast. And one of the things that I liked about it is there is a texture in this solid paper. So it's not solid, if that makes sense. It's one of those tone on tones. I think this one kind of looks maybe like a fabric weave. So it's really kind of nice. So here I have pulled out my T-square. It's my little Simon Says T-square. And I'm trying to figure out how to get these triangles on here. And so I'm using it to create a level distance between the two that's similar all the way up. I think the bottom two may have a bigger gap. And then I am just matting my photo, distressing the edges. I love a good clean looking layout like Wendy's. I struggle with it. If I am being absolutely honest, I would have never walked away from this layout being excited if I had not distressed the edges. I would have been like, y'all, this doesn't work. It's not happening. And then been very sad. Now, I do think that in Wendy's original layout, she is using a smaller photo. I am using a full size 4x6. And so I am covering up a little more of the triangles than she covered up. That's fine. I needed to use a photo that I'd already printed. And so this was it. This next little section in making the layout is just auditioning pieces. Her layout has this fantastic Western theme to it. Mine doesn't. So I was trying to find pieces in different collections that would work with it. For my title, I got out my Heidi Swap stamps. These are my favorite alphabet. I wish more companies would come up with bigger letter stamps. Maybe not this big. These are ginormous, and I love them for that. I mean, they make an impact. But maybe just slightly bigger, because sometimes they're too small to make an impact title, and I needed an impact title. So this photo was taken on what we call in the Run Disney Race community is Metal Monday. And so everybody all over Magic Kingdom, well, in all the parks actually, I think you could probably find people in any of the parks, but racers who've been there for the weekend. So for the race that we do, there's a 5:10.5 marathon. They will wear their medals to the park and have pictures taken in front of the icons. I did one race, so we only had the 5K. And so we wore those to the park and we had pictures made in front of Cinderella's castle. Actually, technically, this is off to the left-hand side over where Sleepy Hollow is, that little walkway up. And they are stellar pictures. So that is my tip if you're a Disney person. That's where you need your castle pictures because nobody's behind you. That giant moat is there. It's not a front-on view of the castle, and I'm okay with that. So stamped these in a bright pink on a light pink and then laid them out, and it really did make an impact title. We're just going to go ahead and make some decisions here on which of these pieces need to go where. I loved this paper from Hip Kit. It had all of these lined hearts, and I had cut some out for another layout and kept the ones that I didn't use, and so that's where those came from. They're not a piece of ephemera. They're actually from a paper, and I cut them out. So I wanted to include a rainbow with this, and I can't remember what that little circle says. Maybe it's good morning or early morning. And these races kick off like you are in the parking lot of Epcot at 3:30 a.m. Like they're early. They're stinking early, actually. And so I wanted to include that because that's just kind of a nod to the earliness of the races. I'm using berry art glue to stick down my letters, and then I'm going to use letter stickers for the word Monday. These are from Hip Kit. They're puffy, so it not only are they small and dark, but they're puffy, and so they give some dimension, and I like that play together. The flat large against the puffy small and dark. The last thing I'm going to do is add this tag right above in that space between the word Monday and that little pointy finger. And so I'm just trying to figure out how to get this in here where it will fit. I did take off the 3D adhesive of this one. It just wasn't working. We're going to stick back down the top part of that L, and that kind of filled in some of that dead space, and it allowed for me to continue with my embellishing. So here we go, friends. Here is the finished layout that I created, adding some of these little hearts just as a last little something. So here is the finished layout. I am so excited that you are here with me today and watching this layout. Make sure you check out everyone's layouts who are in our hop. The tribe has conquered this one, and you will see lots and lots of beautiful examples of how you could make this layout your own. My friends, until we're together again in the next video, go make some memories. Bye-bye.